We have two sources of light.
The stories we tell and the sun.
What if all the people in our city disappeared?
You woke up, went outside, but heard nothing.
Not only people,
but the animals too. The bugs.
Even flowers bent down and stopped breathing.
All the clocks struck, and they echoed so far.
because no one was there to muffle the sound.
If all of us vanished, think of the things we would lose.
Like the time I walked home talking to you on the phone, so it was as if you were walking there with me. And it took me several minutes to even realize it had started to snow.
Or the time it was New Year's Eve, and in the middle of the street,
I met students underdressed and holding instruments.
And all of us sang made-up songs that could never again be repeated.
As we walked to get breakfast at a diner that pulled 5 tables together, just so we could eat side by side.
If it was gone!
I'd miss the guy in the donut store around the corner.
I don't even like donuts, but I go in anyway because what happens to all those donuts at the end of the day? My mom once asked me.
I feel so sad for the man, she said, tearing.
I'd miss the lit-up corner of the department store, too big to walk into.
The one that'll be torn down.
And that even though I never much went in.
I'll be sad to see gone.
I miss the way each pocket of the city has its own note.
And when you go there, you see young couples pushing babies in strollers.
Or old men with missing teeth cracking jokes.
Where your cab driver tells you the secrets of living a happy life.
And what you need to do to keep a man.
And what happened when somebody got into the back of his car with a gun and forced him to drive outside the city? And how he...
The two of you leaning close, together now.
How he'd crashed the car as a way to survive.
I'd miss the guy making shawarmas at 3 a.m. on Saturday night and how you have an entire conversation with just your eyes.
And the old woman in your building who always complains.
What's wrong with the weather? How long it's taking to get the elevator fixed?
How ridiculous it is they'd be doing construction on a Tuesday.
And even though she croaks like an animal you wish would just shoo away,
you hear her voice and start to wonder who she's lost.
Why her hair's always hidden under that scarf!
What she's seen. Or the man and his daughter at the laundromat. And he asks if you have any advice on writing a book.
And you can't tell if he's serious, but then he tells you how long he's lived here.
What it was like to leave his family in his country, but how this is his country now.
And his teeth look so white, you think.
As you put your darks and lights together in the same load, because what difference does it make anyway?
One time I found a street I'd never walked down before.
It parted the city like a forest.
I saw the museum and the university and the wall where in graffiti someone's painted.
Embrace what you are!
I walked, made a left, saw the shops. The ones that have been here since my grandparents were teenagers, kissing.
I went to the CN Tower like it was an X on a map that I could dig out of the ground.
I got to the dome where the Blue Jays live.
Where steam whistles brew.
Where tourists take photos in front of train tracks.
As new couples pose in cold weather, in their wedding dresses and suits.
I wandered around, paused on the bridge.
Remembered coming here as a kid.
And touching the base of the CN Tower with my hand, as if I don't know what I expected.
As if it could give me some charge, like lightning.
But nothing happened.
So like then, once again, I closed my eyes.
And leaned back to the sun.
When the party ends and it's time to go home forever.
What do we want to feel?
What do we want to gaze behind us and see?
What color should our fireworks be, exploding in the distance like spurs?
In those moments when we wonder what the hell it's all for.
Is there any meaning, any beauty?
Or is everything just people trying to sell us something?
Like the man on the street who handed me a pamphlet about a harp, and I nodded and hurried away.
I don't want to buy a harp.
but then when I looked at it closer, I saw it.
That in faded letters in the corner was a poem he'd written.
That stopped me in my tracks, so that when I looked back...
I didn't see the shiny shops and the spinning cars.
But I only saw this man with a very long beard, holding his harp in his arms like a child.
What if a city is not just a place,
but a suggestion of what we place in our hearts?
A series of traces we might see ourselves through.
How else might we wonder what else we could be?
Without first reinventing our own walls and roofs?
Listen. Lean in.
To the space that we're in.
So we know where we are.
And recall what we have to lose.
This is what I try to remember when I walk along your paths.
And underneath your bridges.
And sit on your streetcar, right by the window.
The breeze funnels through and makes me feel like I'm on a ship, heading home.
For just this summer, I remember walking around with a friend at the end of an afternoon.
We wandered an east corridor, one we never walked before.
We walked until we got to the top of a field with a bench.
And we sat there.
We watched the people playing baseball badly, laughing with friends that made t-shirts they could wear.
So they could all be part of the same team before the sun gleamed into the shadows.
We sat there eating fast food takeout sandwiches as we looked at the city skyline from this other side of where we had come from.
We sat there.
Just us and the warm summer air.
And I swear.
We had everything!